Should cover bands play originals? Hey, what's up everybody? This is Reverend Barry from the Badass Bandleader Show. Those of you who don't know me, I am Reverend Barry. That's my stage name. The name of my band is called Reverend Barry and the Funk, based out of Sarasota, Florida. And on this show, the Badass Bandleader Show, we just talk about ideas that are going to, hopefully proven ideas that are going to help your band make more money, get more fans, get more better gigs, play more often and for more money, that type of stuff. Now, before I dive into this topic, which I love so much, is I'm going to talk about, there's something we've been able to do as a band is we've been able to sell tickets to our own shows and make anywhere from $2,500 to $4,500 or more in a single night playing a bar. And I explain how we do that at a video. You can go to the link. It's revclass.com. That's REV as in Victor, class.com to check out a video that I did where I explain how we do that. A lot of people have expressed doubt that that's even humanly possible. And if I were in your shoes, I might think the same thing, but it is possible. We are doing it all the time. In fact, we're actually promoting a show in a new area. It's kind of a suburb of our town. We went and made a deal with a local ballroom over there. It's a restaurant that has a big catering facility and a ballroom. And we made them a deal to do 100% of the door. We get 100% of the door, and we've been selling tickets to the show, and we just bypassed, I think it's $2,200 in sales of the VIP seats. And we're still 3 weeks away. So we're really excited about that. So I think we're probably on par to do probably $4,000+ in sales the first time we've ever been there. So I explained that process at revclass.com, REV as in Victor, class.com. If you haven't watched that video, go check it out. I think you'll find it very eye-opening. So now to the topic at hand, which is, should cover bands play originals? Now, why am I making such a big deal of this? Because I've been in some forums with cover bands. I've actually been in forums or groups, or I still call them forums, that old school terminology. Facebook groups where it's all cover band people, and this topic's been brought up, and it brings up a lot of passionate debate. Some people are like, "Oh, cover bands they're called cover bands for a reason. They're supposed to cover other people's material. They should not do originals ever at all, period, end of story." And I think that's sort of silly. My band plays originals. Now, we did not start off with the intention of ever playing originals, frankly. We're an 8-piece band with a 3-piece horn section. We do the covers that we do are like Earth, Wind and Fire, Stevie Wonder, Commodores, Prince, stuff like that, because a lot of music from the 60s into the 80s had horn sections, and that's the kind of music that we love, and it's very danceable material. So that was our idea when we first started the band, which is we would play that type of music, which we really loved, and people could dance to it, and it worked out very well, and the band became pretty popular. And so we didn't really have any intention of writing originals, but what we kind of found that happened with us is that we played, we learned a lot of songs. I don't know how many songs we know, a lot. And what we found is that over time, we started kind of running out of material to learn from that era, at least songs that we felt like were really going to be popular and would go over well in a cover band situation. So I thought, well, we might as well start writing our own material. And, and I'd been in original bands and stuff like that when I was in my 20s and my 30s. And so, writing songs wasn't something that was foreign to me. And, so we started writing some of our own tunes, and they actually went over pretty well, and they kind of sounded like the material that we were already doing, and so people just kind of went with the flow. And there's a number of bands in our market that, play both covers and originals, so it wasn't like we were the only one doing this kind of thing. And there are certainly very popular cover bands in this market that don't do any originals at all. So, so I guess, if I could offer any advice, if you're thinking about this from a band that's done this, well, first of all, I got to point out, if you're kind of one of those people that like, well, you should never do originals, I mean, if all bands thought that way, we wouldn't have a lot of the music that we have, because I mean, some of the greatest bands in the world started as cover bands. In fact, I don't know the stats on it, but I'd say most of the famous bands that we know started as cover bands. I know for a fact that Van Halen did. I mean, Van Halen were known as, I mean, if you even think about some of the Van Halen's great first like 4 or 5 hits were all covers. I mean, You Really Got Me and Pretty Woman and, Dancing in the Streets, all songs like that. The heck, they kept recording covers and having big hits. I know that believe it or not, Pantera was a cover band. I know that for a fact because I lived in Dallas in the 90s when Pantera was hitting it big. And there were lots of people that I'd met that were like, yeah, Pantera played my prom in the 80s. Because Pantera was playing back in the 80s. Of course, they were a cover band that was playing probably Poison and Def Leppard and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of crazy if you think about it, knowing how heavy they are. But, so even a band as heavy as Pantera started off as a cover band. So, but they took a tried and proven path, which is, you play covers and you slowly work your originals in. And that's something that's worked for us. And so that would be my first advice if you're thinking about, working originals into your set, which would be, start off as a cover band and then work your covers or work your originals into your set. Because if you start off as an all original band, that is a very tough road. It's a road that I've been down before personally, back when I was in my 20s. Actually, I was a teenager. I started off with a band that was, playing a lot of originals, but we were like a Christian rock band, and, we had churches that would let us play there. Of course they wouldn't pay us, and then what I did in my 20s, I started, in the grunge scene in the 90s. Everybody's trying to get a record deal, and we were, playing all originals, writing songs 3 nights a week, and, but nobody ever paid us for anything. So when we went in and recorded our first record, we paid for it with credit cards, right? And so the downside with being an all original act is chances are very good you're not going to make any money, and really until you can sell tickets as an original act, you're not going to make any money. And so you're going to probably go into a lot of debt. You're going to have a hard time, keeping band members, because not every band member is loves the idea of not getting paid to play. And honestly, let's be honest about it. A lot of all original acts, they're not playing for that many people, right? Because there's not a lot of people that want to come out and hear a band that plays a bunch of songs that they've never heard before, So I just find that if you're gonna write original material, it's a better idea to start as a cover band, because you have people they're familiar with the material, like I said earlier, our band started off playing covers of Earth, Wind and Fire, Commodores, Kool and the Gang, those types of bands that had horns and, Tower of Power, stuff like that. And so we attracted the types of people who like that type of music. So when we started writing our originals that sounded similar to those songs, people were like, hey, I like this. What is this? Oh, that's one of your songs? Wow, that's really cool, right? It's kind of a simple concept, but it's, it's amazing how well it can work. Again, if your songs are good. Now, this video is not meant to be, maybe I'll do something on songwriting. It seems a little weird for, because really our crowd here on Badass Band Leaders more cover bands. But, if there's something about songwriting that if you want me to make a video, I guess I could do that. But again, okay, so working originals into your set. What I have found has worked, I usually try to do like a percentage. When I work them into the set, I start off the night with probably 2 or 3 covers back to back, and then I put the first original in the set. And then I'll kind of follow that pattern. I'll put like 2 and 3, and then I'll put another original in. Now, some people I've seen, they're uncomfortable with doing more than 1 original per set. And really it does, sometimes you do kind of have to test the waters a little bit. I mean, I kind of judge because our band, a lot of people dance to our band. We're a very popular dance band, and fact is when you play your original songs, and you've got a packed dance floor, then you play original, everybody leaves the dance floor. It's a drag. It sucks. I know. And then, then you've got to work to get them back on there. But, it's sort of like nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? There does come a certain level of you have to keep playing them over and over if you believe that they're good songs. I mean, if the reason people are leaving the dance floor is because the song sucks and it's not resonating with them, that's something you have to take into consideration as a songwriter. And just, sometimes the audience will tell you whether or not, maybe they won't tell you verbally, hopefully not, hey, your song sucks. Nobody's ever said that to me, but that would really hurt my feelings. I ain't gonna lie. But, I think you should know, right? If they're not resonating with it, and maybe, especially like if you have CDs or something available for sale and nobody's ever buying your CDs, maybe it's time to take a hint that the song's not resonating. But, if hopefully what's going to happen over time is that you're going to have people that they stay on the dance floor, and then you have fans that keep coming over and over. They're going to start getting to know your songs, and they're going to be digging on it. They're going to like it. Now here's something. Now, if you're thinking about, if you're like, well, we've been thinking about doing covers, but or thinking about doing originals, we're just not sure. What I have seen, and this is something that I didn't necessarily expect, but it's something that's happened over time, is that the more originals that we write, of course, the better we get at them, and we kind of write songs that feature our skills and our talents and our abilities, to kind of feature the band a little bit more. What we've seen is, our band sounds really good on our originals, and so it's helped get us booked for some things that we wouldn't have gotten booked otherwise. So let me give you an example, like festivals. In Florida, there's a lot of festivals, especially during snowbird season, which is usually traditionally the time between the beginning of November until Easter, and that's when the weather's really beautiful in Florida, and they have a lot of festivals. They got seafood festivals, beer festivals, of course, music festivals, and they book a lot of entertainment, and some of these promoters will pay pretty good money for bands. A lot of times they want bands that will play originals, not just covers. I don't know why that is, but I have seen that to be true. So playing originals has given us the opportunity to get additional gigs that we probably would not have been able to get otherwise. And I'm not quite sure why that's the case, but I've just seen it to be true. And the other cool thing is that you notice I don't know, maybe you haven't noticed, but I'm actually wearing our band's hat right now. We just had these hats created last week. When we play festivals as an original act, even when we do festivals, we don't do all originals typically, unless we just have a very short set. But like in a festival setting, usually you're playing 60 to 90 minutes maybe. So I'll do most of our originals, but then I'll work some of our covers in there. And what I've seen is that a lot of people will buy merch. They'll buy T-shirts, they'll buy hats and CDs, and will ask us for autographs and stuff of our CDs. And we've had some festivals where we've sold hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of merch. Chances of people buying merch of a cover band, it's not that it couldn't happen, but when you're in a festival setting, when they see you as an original band, even if you did play some covers, they still see you as an original act. And especially if they like your original music, if they like your style, and if they like the way your merch looks, they may buy your stuff. So that, so my point is that playing originals, in addition to your covers, again, assuming that your originals are good and you have kind of a vibe about your material, it can open up doors that wouldn't normally be open to you. And I absolutely have seen that to be true. In fact, if you watch my Facebook Live last week, I broadcasted on the beach on Thursday from Naples, Florida. I was down at a convention called the Florida Festivals and Events Association convention, and we were a featured showcase on Thursday night, and we were one of a few bands that played in front of hundreds of festival and event promoters. And we have already started booking events from that, or booking festivals from that. And, it went really, really well. We've already had, I think we've done $14,000 in sales so far, and the shows that we're booking are like, the average is between $4,000 to $6,000. You know, it's kind of what their budgets are per event for, you know, some of these things. And so again, not to say that we wouldn't have gotten those gigs had we did not do originals, but I just have a feeling it's because we do originals and because we have that thing going on, but we also play covers. So like when we did the showcase, I did 50-50. We only had 6 songs, 3 originals, 3 covers, and it worked out great. You know, so just food for thought. If you're thinking about doing covers, I keep saying that. If you keep thinking about doing originals, you know, just keep some of those things in mind. I think it makes sense to work them in, you know, and you got to feel the crowd out. But as you start seeing yourself as an original act, you're going to attract some people if you've got good songs. Cover bands should slowly start playing originals as they build songs and a following. Seep it out slowly once you're... Here, let me... Ryan. I'm clicking the see more button and it's not letting me see more. Bummer. Well, yeah, man. What he's saying. I think that's the way to do it. You got to slowly work it out and, you know, just feel the crowd out. And you know, but the other thing too is that when you're playing covers, hopefully, as I've taught, you know, in a lot of my other videos, all bands should be run as a business. You're not like a business. You are a business if you're a band. If you're a cover band and you're making money, you're bringing in money. Hopefully you're not spending all your money, or God forbid, you're not dividing all your money up amongst all the band members. That drives me crazy. When I hear about band leaders are doing that, it's foolish, because businesses need to, you know, just think about if you had a day job and the boss, basically he took his pay home and then he gave all the money that everybody made and gave it all away to all the employees, then you wouldn't have any money to run the business, right? You wouldn't have any money to buy advertising or to pay rent or those things. The same is true with cover bands. So the reason I bring that up is because, yeah, you got to have a band fund. We basically have a set thing of 10%. So 10% goes back into a band fund. The reason I bring that up is if you want to, well, for one, buy merch. I had to stroke $1,000 check last week or the week before about to get new t-shirts and hats. And then, you know, but I had the money in the account to do it. The other thing is if you want to put out a CD or you want to put out some kind of recording of your material, I still think CDs are valid. Do people listen to them? Probably not. But like we did a big show in Boca Raton on Friday night and we sold a bunch of CDs. Why? Because people wanted our autograph. Why do people want our autograph? Because we played original material. It was the last time, you know, you probably don't get a lot of opportunity to sign autographs as a cover band. So you see what I'm driving at with this? So I know I'm kind of digressing here, but you need to have money in the kitty to do the recording, right? I mean, yeah, you can maybe record at home with GarageBand or whatever, but if you decide to go in a studio, you got to have money. So have money in the kitty to be able to go out and do your recordings so you can have those CDs made or, you know, put them out on Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff. And, you know, I just think, you know, having good original material along with your covers, it can be a formula for success, but there is a way to do it and a way to not to do it. So hopefully you've enjoyed these tips. Thanks, Ryan, for hanging out. And hope to see you here at the Badass Band Leader Show. And again, before I leave, one more plug for revclass.com. It's REV as in Victor, class.com. Go there if you want to see how we have been able to figure out how to sell tickets to our own themed events and make anywhere from $2,500 to $4,500 plus in a single night playing bars, selling tickets to themed events. I spell it all out at revclass.com. Go check it out. You might learn something. Hopefully, talk to you soon. Bye. Well.